Welcome to November. Today we're talking about some of the books coming out the week of November 4th. These seem to mostly be series, continuations, or sequels. There will be timestamps between every genre though. I'm Morgan. I hope you enjoy this video, and we will be starting with YA. First up is going to be one that I am very excited about, and this is Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. This is the sequel to What the River Knows, and it's going to just be a duology, so we should be coming to a satisfying conclusion, hopefully. This series is following Inez Oliveira, who was born and raised in Argentina, as her parents, though, are kind of globe-trotting historian, adventurer type peoples. And one day, though, she does receive a letter that her parents have died, and now she's just going to be living with her aunt, as she already has been, and they're just not coming home. She does not accept this, though, so she sneaks off to Egypt to find answers to how they died and why she wasn't told very much. Lots of things ensue. There is magic. Oh, this does take place in the late 19th century? 1890s, maybe? Or maybe earlier than that. So it was a very tumultuous time in Egypt in general, and you get archaeology, you get black markets, you get magic. Lots of things are happening, and with it being a YA, also hint of romance and tension there between her and the love interest, as mostly they're getting on each other's nerves. Our next one is the second one in a planned trilogy. This is Stranger Skies by Pango Listings. Maybe I said either of those parts of their name right. The first book in the series was Curious Tides. Opening locked doors has a price, even for those who hold a key. Emery might be a student at the prestigious Alderan College for Lunar Magics, but her healing abilities have always been mediocre at best, until a treacherous night in the Dovamere Sea caves leaves a group of her classmates dead and her as the only survivor. Now Emery is plagued by strange, impossible powers that no healer should possess, and her best friend will have to be the one that helps her master them, find out what's going on, while also being one of those classmates who drowned. We move into sci-fi with another sequel. This is Revenant X by David Wellington. I really want to get to this one. The first book was Paradise 1 in the Red Space series. Paradise 1, Earth's first deep space colony for thousands of people. It was an opportunity for a new life until it went dark. No communication has been received from the colony for months, and it falls to Firewatch Inspector Alexandria Petrov and the crew of the Artemis to investigate. What they find is more horrifying than anything they could have imagined. Yes, I really, really want to try this now. I've been wanting to try it, and now that it's continuing, yeah. Into fantasy, The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. This one, I've heard that it's given the cozy, and a lot of people are anticipating this. Tao is an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages with just her trusty mule for company. She only tells small fortunes, whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when the cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. Even if it's a lonely life, it's better than the one she left behind, but a small fortune unexpectedly becomes something more when a semi-reformed thief and an ex-mercenary recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon, they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure and, of course, a slightly magical cat. Need is spelled like with a K, like how you need bread. That is adorable. Okay, we're gonna move on. Then we have Graveyard for Demons by Larry Correia. This is part of the Saga of the Forgotten series, which I've only heard a little bit about, but good things. In a land where the age of law reigns supreme and the casteless are condemned to live as untouchables, rebellion brews and the forgotten gods whisper of a hero's return. After the War of the Gods, the demons were cast out and fell to the world. Oh, this is from the description of the first one in the series. Mankind was nearly eradicated by the seemingly unstoppable beasts until the gods sent the great hero Ramaroan to save them. He united the tribes and gave them magic, and drove the demons into the sea. Ever since, the land has belonged to man, and the oceans have remained an uncrossable hell, leaving the continent of Lok isolated. It was prophesied that someday the demons would return, and only the descendants of Ramrowan would be able to defeat them. How do you pronounce that name? What even is that name? Oh my gosh. From there into Romantasy with another long-going series. This is Hexed by Emily McIntyre. It's the next one in the Never After series, which each one is a slightly different sort of steamy retelling. He's the prince of La Cosa Nostra. She's the witch who steals his heart. So, Little Mermaid inspired. Vanessa Anderson has never been good. She wasn't good enough for her parents. She isn't good enough for the gangster uncle who took her in after they died. But she's cunning, beautiful, dutiful to her uncle's demands, and she doesn't have time for a moral compass anyway. When her runaway cousin returns to their coastal southern town, she brings a man with her, and Vanessa soon realizes he's the only one who's ever seen her for her. There's just one problem. She can't have him. Or she can never have him. Same sentiment, different words. Our last one for the week is going to be Thriller, The Lake of Lost Girls by Katherine Green. It's 1998 and female students are going missing at Southern State University in North Carolina. But freshman Jessica Fadley, once a bright and responsible student, is going through her own struggles. Just as her life seems to be careening dangerously out of control, she suddenly disappears. 24 years later, Jessica's sister Lindsay is desperately searching for answers and uses the momentum of a new chart-topping true crime podcast that focuses on cold cases to guide her investigation. Soon, interest reaches a fever pitch with the bodies of the long-missing women begin turning up at a local lake, which leads Lindsay down a disturbing road of discovery. I kept messing up simple words there. Simple words. While this week's list was a tad bit smaller than others, maybe you were still able to find a new book to put on your TBR or a new series has been added to your radar. That's a weird turn of phrase. I hope that you enjoyed this one and you'll subscribe if you liked it, that you're finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see you in the next one.